G'day, wrestling mates. Welcome to the Southern Joe Wrestling Show under its brand new name, If You See Kayfabe. The name came to me as a quirky play on many things. So if you know, you know. I wanted to take the show to the next level. It's still a passion project of mine, but I'm also learning how to better edit things, especially with our new PC. If you're a West Ham fan, you should see how much better the editing is on episode 5 of the Southern Joe West Ham show. Now, however, the wrestling audience is a bit different, I feel, and this feels right. Tell me in the comments section down below whether you've liked the new title, If You See Kayfabe, or did I go back to the OG title? While I'm at it, I'd like to recognise my editing suite. I got it for free, so they should get a free plug from me. I'm using DaVinci Resolve version 19. It's quick and simple to use, and I'm learning more stuff every week. My theme music, which I credit at the back end of each show every week, is by Lost European, and the track is called An Illusion. Back to the new show title. Now, I grew up during the kayfabe era. It was during a time when pro wrestling was generally treated as a pretty much legitimate sport. It was during a time when the battles that were had legitimacy. And to me, while some say kayfabe is somewhat dead, there are still embers of it that exist in many ways today. The first thing I want to address is in this episode is the call by Ric Flair and Eric Bischoff for fans not to use insider terms. Now, I somewhat disagree with this, but even with what Eric famously says, context is king, I think it depends on how you approach and talk with a wrestler if you meet them or someone who's part of the business. For example, when I spoke with Bret Hart at Starcast Down Under, I didn't bandy around insider terms, except when I spoke about how his dad back in the day stretched people. But I didn't come off like I was a carny. I think the funniest thing is how everyday people posting on the internet say things like, Samoa Joe jobbed to swerve, so now Samoa Joe is a jobber. The terms mark and jobber are the most overused as well as the most misused insider terms I have seen. The story of how the term mark came about is fascinating to me. Now, like most wrestling terminology, insider terms have generally come from the Carnival Code. It's a code that insiders use so they can talk in plain sight without regular folk having any idea what they're being flim-flammed about. A carny operator had a person that would go out amongst the crowd and spot a rube that the operator could get to part with his money by trying to win at his games that he had on there. This person would have chalk on his hands, and when he spotted the potential customer, he would mark them somehow with the chalk that he had on his hand. And this was either by accidentally bumping into them and say, oh, sorry, as he patted him on the shoulder, or some other way. Now, the operator would see the chalk mark on that person, therefore you have your mark. So really, the mark in wrestling is the person you want, as if you're a promoter, to part with their money to buy a ticket to your show or merchandise or a pay-per-view or whatever it is. As for the term jobber, many in wrestling don't like that term. They usually prefer to call them enhancement talent. And that's because these wrestlers are usually thrown into a match to make the star look good by giving him an easy win. Yes, a star may do a job for another star, that is, they'll lose the match for them, but this does not make them a jobber. If you follow sports, you like to use terminology that everyone knows and understands. You don't say anything like, geez, that blue team did so well thrashing the red team last night, didn't they? You'll not only know players' names, but also the rules and the terminology. Yeah, things like double dribble in basketball, offside in soccer, or LBW in cricket. If you meet a wrestling professional, yeah, don't talk like you're one of them. But if you do use an insider term, I believe respectful use will be such as, well, I thought you were more believable as a heel than as a babyface, and you did well that way. And it may be acceptable, but you probably have to watch your terminology more around a veteran who has always been more about protecting the business and kayfabe. Now, after a short break, I want to finish up with a rant about women's treatment and fans' behaviour. Welcome back to the new look If You See Kayfabe YouTube show. Still with your wrestling mate from down under, Southern Joe. Now, I'm not a fan of female wrestling. I don't care if that offends anyone, nor do I want it to offend anyone. To me, it's like someone who doesn't like a hardcore match or a battle royal. Or if they'll change the channels if certain people come on, that's their choice. For those women that want to become wrestlers, go for it. Good luck to you and achieve your dream. Work hard at it. But if you want to be taken seriously as athletes, you need to pay more attention to your wrestling craft and less attention to looks. Sure, make yourself as pretty as you want, but be careful what you wish for when you present your sexuality. Now, I'm saying this in response to a report from various outlets recently, and it's about AEW Sky Blue, who found herself to be the target of harassment this week as an audience member directed several vulgar comments at her during a Ring of Honor taping at the Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Referee Aubrey Edwards subsequently alerted the security team, who then ejected the respective fan from the building. Reports of this incident circulated online in the hours following, prompting many of Blue's fellow female wrestlers to speak out in her defense, particularly after one ex-user declared that all female wrestlers, including Blue, needed to stop showing so much butt in the ring. It's not exactly what's said, but I'm paraphrasing. I'll read what they are responding to in a moment. But there's an indie wrestler from Australia, Shazza McKenzie, who wrote on X, "It's crazy how men wear far less when wrestling and manage to not get harassed. It's almost like the problem is with men and what they think is appropriate behavior. Teach your kids to be better than this douche." She's correct about the douche, but in the past, male wrestlers have been stabbed and assaulted. The behavior of the man spewing the vulgar comments is definitely in the wrong. But what the anti-mark of wrestling said rings true as well, and I'll edit a bit here. He said some fatherly advice for Sky Blue and all female wrestlers. Stop showing so much butt. Try to look more like a fighter than a stripper. The fish nets are effing corny. You're making these nerds feel comfortable. The IG thirst traps, the OF and anything like that, is enabling them. Now, before you start saying that I'm saying they're asking for it, no, It's a two-way street. There'll be a cohort of men who think it's okay to say those sorts of horrible things to women. Now, but will they say it to the ones exuding sexuality or the ones who look like they could kick their butts anyway? Let's put it this way. That bloke wouldn't have made the same comments to the fabulous Moolah. If this guy has crossed the line, like I said, especially if it's done in front of his kid, which is totally wrong on so many levels, then yeah, he should be banned, and also he needs to take classes on respect for women. But at the same time, the women need to be somewhat accountable for their own portrayal. I found Chelsea Green's comment to be also a little bit unusual. She said, let me get this straight. Our male counterparts can walk around shirtless with tidy underwear on, but we can't wear our outfits because you mouth breathers can't keep your in your pants. Sounds like the problem isn't Sky and her insanely great body. It's you, my guy. Now, any female wrestler can show off their insanely great body if that's what they wish. Mind you, I thought they were supposed to be wrestlers. But males can go shirtless because the male upper body doesn't contain any reproductive duties like women's breasts do. Hence why women can't be topless no matter what. But how many males really wear tiny underwear? The males either wear long tights, or if they do wear short tights, they really look more like bloomers that beach volleyballers wear. They don't really show so much butt cheeks. Also, how many times do women provocatively enter the ring going through the ropes? It's a two-way street. There'll be a percentage of guys who see a woman dressed provocatively and have the stupid belief that she is a loose woman or something like that. Totally wrong. But the question is, do you ladies want to be remembered as great wrestlers? Or are you trying to catch up to Sunny as the most downloaded woman of all time? Or are you trying to set yourself up for an OnlyFans account? Look at wrestlers of today like Charlotte Flair. She shows her body off, but not in a cheap way. But also look at the respect she gets for her work. Same with Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley. Now, Kylie Ray also tweeted this in response to anti-market wrestling. Hey, brother, showing skin does not give someone the right to harass you. Do better. True, it doesn't give the right, but here I think she misunderstood his whole point here. No one was saying that the guy should harass anyone or have the right. Also, they're showing skin and they're putting it out there like it's in a shop window. Now, I wish on behalf of men that all blokes respect women anyway, no matter whether you think they look cheap or not. But women, think about how you would like to be remembered in the future. More importantly, how would your kids would like to remember you in the future? It's all food for thought. Please press like and subscribe as this show forges ahead. Now, there's a possibility of another major change in the future. Can't say much, but I will reveal all if it pans out the way I want. Otherwise, carry on. For the new look, if you see kayfabe, this is your wrestling mate from down under, Southern Joe, saying, hooroo.